Welcome back to Buckeye Talk. It is time for outrageous predictions for Ohio State's game against Akron. I'm Nathan Baird from cleveland.com, along with Stephen Means. Doug Lesmerises is, on assignment. We'll just say he's not here today. So we're giving you our outrageous predictions on our own. I'm going to go on the defensive side of the ball. I know that the big news this week is the fact that C.J. Stroud probably won't play as of the moment we're recording this, and that he'll be available only in emergency, and Kyle McCord and Jack Miller will be the quarterbacks for this game. But I'm still more interested in the growth on the defensive side for this team over the course of a season. And the thing that's really been lingering out there as a potential issue is just where is the pass rush? The pass rush has been kind of non-existent. I think Ohio State fixes that a little bit this week. Sounds like Zach Harrison is going to play. I'm taking Ohio State to record 5 sacks, and I think two of them will be from Jack Sawyer. I think this could be sort of a resumption of the spring game for him because it's sort of a similar opponent. No offense, Akron, but sort of a similar opponent to getting to play against Ohio State's second string. And he's had some moments in the first few games. He's drawn some holding penalties, has not been able to get on the field and play an extended period of time. I think they like what JT Tuimoloau brings from an all-around standpoint, and Sawyer is not quite there yet. But this is going to be a game where a lot of guys can get more reps. So I think he gets in the backfield twice and takes down the quarterback, and Ohio State gets 5 overall. They only have 4 in 3 games. So this would be exceeding their season total so far. Steven, you're not happy with what I picked because I think you probably picked something very similar. What is your outrageous prediction?
I don't know if great minds think alike for the last 2 weeks, or like they're the themes of the week, so it is what it is.
So do we.
Yeah, mine is 7. It's 7 sacks for this team, and here's what it's based off of. In 2019, when they played Maryland, they had 7 sacks. And I think there was a little bit of a motivation behind that. Was the first game Chase Young missed because of the suspension. And, of course, the conversation around that team is, Chase Young is the reason why that team led the nation in sacks with 54. When you take that away, you take away the pass rush, and that clearly didn't happen that year. That was the most sacks they had in a game all year. They had other games where they had 4 and 5, but a lot of that was just Chase. That game, they had 7, and it was pretty spread out. Zach Harrison had some. The linebackers got involved. Tuck Borland and Malik Harrison. Tariq Smith had 2 sacks. Devon Hamilton, who ended up just being a monster that year on the interior, had some sacks as well. That's my guess. That's going to be my prediction again, that they repeat that. And here's what makes it outrageous. Since that game, they've played 16 games. They've had 5 or more sacks in 2 games, and there was the 2 games against Penn State. And in both of those situations, it was really just one person carrying the load. Chase Young in 2019 with 3 sacks, and then Tommy Togiai in 2020, he also had 3 sacks. So it wasn't really – you had 5 sacks, but there was really just one guy dominating. And then there's been 4 other games where they've had at least 3, and that's Clemson, the Fiesta Bowl in 2019. That's Nebraska, Michigan State, and Northwestern last season. And since then, it's been obviously a consistent problem for them to get home. I think they need to come out here and set a tone, and Akron might be the perfect team to do that against because they've already given up 12 sacks, and they've only played one Power 5 opponent, which was Auburn, and they had 6 sacks. So that's where it's based off, them having 7 sacks in that Maryland game in 2019, but also it gives them 1 more than what Auburn had in that Week 1 game.
Yeah, there's more to being a defensive end than just getting sacks. But I think every defensive end on this team would tell you that it's an important part of being a defensive end, especially at Ohio State, especially with what they want to do defensively with that 4-man front. I think it's time for Zach Harrison, who did have a strip sack in the first game that led to a touchdown and didn't play last week. It's time for Tariq Smith. It's time even for some of these guys on the interior like Haskell Garrett to just be a more consistent penetration presence. It just hasn't really been there. Some of it has been the tempo of the game and the way the other offense approaches things, getting the ball out of their hands quick. Maybe they're just doing that too because they respect what's on the other side for Ohio State a little bit. But at some point, they need to be more disruptive. They need to give this young secondary and this young linebacker group in that second level a little bit better opportunity to make their plays too. Get the text 614-350-3315, news and analysis before, after, and during the game, Ohio State against Akron on Saturday.